the biggest question I've got about the Pistons is like, what's going to be the lingering cloud when this whole Jalen Duren situation gets finalized or at least temporarily settled? Like, is he going to sign an extension? Well, I don't know, but this has been a awfully nasty negotiation. And so I've got real concerns there because I understand they believe Asar Thompson is their second best player, but like Jalen Duren was an all NBA player for him last year. He was a massive factor in them winning 60 games. You can certainly criticize the playoff performance, but he was a massive factor in them winning 60 games. And, I don't know him. I don't really have a great feel for kind of his temperament or anything like that. But sometimes these negotiations, when they're ugly like this, can have consequences that aren't. Yeah.
Long lasting. And I think, and I'm not trying to give away too much here, but I think when you have negotiations like this, there's certain things that a player should not have to hear. You know what I mean? There's certain things that a player does not have to hear when the messaging comes back about why you're not getting what you believe to be your value. And those are perhaps conversations that are going to have to be had to clear the air whenever he signs his deal. Like, I don't know if he's going to take the qualifying offer. It's very rarely someone passes up $180 million guaranteed to take 9 on the thought that I'm going to go and get from insert team here. Like sometimes what with a player like that, he hears, well, Boston was going to offer me this, and Sacramento was going to offer me this, and Team X is going to offer me close to, over $200 million if we were to work out a sign and trade, and then they get that in their head and they can't get it out. And I'm very curious for a guy who's still very young, who felt like he'd done enough in the regular season to warrant getting, quote unquote, his money, how that's going to play moving forward. He's a professional. He shows up, he works hard, all of that stuff. Like, nobody takes any of that away from him. I just wonder where human nature comes in after a certain point where your feelings are hurt.
The Jalen Duren stuff getting more sticky. So this is a little bit more of the full interview with Vince Goodwill, but Brandon McMahon or McMahon, whatever his name is, no disrespect. And he says it's got nasty. He says it's got nasty between the Detroit Pistons and Jalen Duren. Nasty is a very interesting adjective to describe this situation. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And outside of nasty, he said that he heard some things that he normally shouldn't hear. And I talked about in the other video, the last one I did about the Vince Goodwill part of that clip, is that your agent is the bumper. He's the filter. So if I have a water filter and it filters out all the impurities or most of the impurities, that's what your agent is for. And that's why Lamar Jackson is probably going to be out of Baltimore this year. His mother being his agent, she's telling him everything that the organization is meant to tell him without filter. Without filter. So this is the same thing. The agent's probably telling Jalen Duren everything that he wants to hear. And I mean, if they feel like they can salvage a relationship, if they feel like they can force him to take the one, I mean, even if you force him to take the 180 or 200, whatever it is, he still got to play to get more money. Because if you really worth $287 million, you got to prove it. Whether you're on a qualifying deal, a 1-and-1, a 3-year deal, you got to prove that you worth that. Regardless, you got to, even if you get the money, you can be lax. So I got money. I can wait till year 5 to show I'm worth. No, you got to prove it. But I think I said it in the last video. Excuse me, still a little bit under the weather. Sorry. I said in the last video, I think what Isaiah Stewart said about Terajan Langdon being transparent with him and saying you're a trade candidate, I think Jalen Duren don't really feel like he's Terajan Langdon's guy. And when they said that Asar Thompson, he said it in this clip, they feel Asar Thompson is their second best player. Jalen Duren is thinking like, okay, it's the playoffs, but people got to understand the playoffs is the most important part. The playoffs are the most important part. I think people don't really realize the playoffs are the most important part. Yeah, the regular season and all that, but what you do in the playoffs really cements you. And, had he bought in the playoffs, they probably had no problem giving him no money. And they felt the same way that the city of Detroit felt about him in the playoffs. But I think the SAR thing and the situation getting nasty is becoming a problem. And at what point, who get ground? Are the Pistons going to get ground? Because they haven't get ground all offseason. Is Duren going to get ground? We don't know. But it seemed like he ain't get ground all offseason. So, for the most part, it's in a position of, why continue to wait? Trade him. They should be putting they should have contingency pack, like Batman having contingency plans if anybody in the Justice League go wild. But to say it's nasty, bro. I don't know what to say. Nasty is like I said, that means is and that could be far from the truth or close to the truth, or be absolutely accurately the truth. And if it's nasty, dog, they gotta start looking. But then from their point of view, they probably like, you know what, this whole ass nigga, excuse my language, he ain't gonna take the qualifying offer. He gonna take what we give him. And if he want to really get that $287 million, he gonna come back and ball next year. And it's like, it wasn't like he was bad in the playoffs 1 year in a row. Everybody keep talking about 1 year. He was bad 2 years in a row. First year, he couldn't stay on the floor and got injured. Don't forget, first year, Isaiah Stewart wasn't healthy. First year, Jalen Duren couldn't stay on the floor out of foul trouble. Second year, he stayed on the floor and was abysmal. Isaiah Stewart was injured again. So ultimately, like I said before, if the situation is getting nasty, dog, either y'all need to close the gap, y'all need to sit down, eat fettuccine lobster or whatever together, and come to an understanding. You need to call him one-on-one like a man. Y'all have a brew. Y'all go to Red Lobster, some shit, whatever y'all go to, Texas de Brazil, in the back of fucking, Roman Village in Dearborn. Great restaurant, by the way. Wherever y'all need to go and just hash it out. Fuck the agent, just hash it out. But ultimately, nasty, he didn't heard some stuff. Well, you want that? And he ain't heard nothing that we ain't saying on the air. He ain't heard nothing we ain't saying on the air. But what he think is, I hit the incentive, I earn the incentive. That's like, all right, man, you go out there and you sell 100 Detroit Pistons jerseys, we gonna give you a $50,000 bonus. It ain't gonna never happen, but you hit the bonus. Oh, get a 50 bands. They was, nah, we ain't giving you the 50 bands, but we're gonna do for you, Playboy. We're gonna give you 10,000 for selling 100. My bad. We're gonna give you 10,000. You eligible for 50, but it's at our discretion, so we're gonna give you 10,000. Well, I'm gonna go sell some goddamn Cavaliers. No. Cleveland got to come match that. And then we gonna match that then. That's how I feel, man. So, like Vince Goodwill said, yeah, you hearing that Boston could be in, you hearing these things, they can offer you this, but like we hear a lot of things. Remember you thought big booty Sharia Cherie liked you in the 6th grade? Your boy like, yeah, you go shoot your shot. And she's like, nah, Tyrone. We hear a lot of things in life, you know what I'm saying? But hey, hit the link in the description. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, wherever else in that link in the description. Appreciate the love, support. Like I said, man, hype the video. I appreciate y'all. Support me on all my channels. All the links in the description, I believe. One time for the one time. Peace.